In the meantime, DVLA goes paperless with its new smart card driver's license. The new smart card comes with an enhanced security feature which is aimed at eliminating fake licenses in the system. At a media briefing a while ago, Director in charge of driver training, testing and licensing at the DVLA, Chieyo Wena Musa, says the new system will also reduce the duration for the issuance of licenses.
New license is completely different from the old one. The new license is backed by a very robust software. We are going to use the latest technology in print, and we are going to use the latest cards that are used in the print. And these cards are not susceptible to fading, scratching. The technology we are going to use is going to be laser engraving. That is the latest and the best you can get in any part of the world. Now, this license is also a license with a chip embedded in it. Now, the possibilities that this offers Ghanaians, drivers, are numerous. That your data can be stored in the chip. Now, this data can be used for online verification. So it is good for people. This chip inside can also be used to store other driver information. So it is good for driver license history, just like we have in other jurisdictions. Indeed, this is the first in West Africa that a country issues a license with a chip, and the possibilities are numerous. The software that backs the system is a software that can be connected to so many systems. We have already mentioned the National Identification Authority program.
So it will be embedded in that?
It will be, yes, we can link the software to that. So when the software is linked to that, that means the card itself can be very useful. All information about the driver can be verified as against what you have in the National Identification Authority database.
How soon are we expecting this card to be rolled out?
We expect this card to roll out as soon as they are launched, and we think the launch will be done on the 7th of November.
So after 7th of November, if I put in my application, because I don't have a license, yes, if I put in my application, how soon should I expect to receive my card?
Yeah, thank you. Now, if we put in an application after the 1st, there is a process for getting the driver's license. That process has two stages. The first stage is the learning and testing stage. That takes a bit of time. The law prescribes minimum 3 months. So that is when you are given the learner's permit and you can take your test within that period. Now, when you have passed your test, now the other process that involves the issuance of this license is where we think is going to be very robust, and we are assuring Ghanaians that once you have passed your exams and you have been captured to be given a driver's license, we expect to deliver your license to you between 2 to 4 weeks maximum.
All right, so that is the DVLA there for you. We're going to have a very quick chat about this as well. Have in the studio Kafui Semevo. He's the Deputy Director of the Driver Training, Testing and Licensing Division of the DVLA. We just heard his boss speaking there. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've spoken a bit about the difference, a bit about it. But if you were to break it down further, would you say this is really different, and how different is it from what we already have?
All right, so like my boss has already said, it's really different. If you look at what we have today, it's also a card license, but we are introducing what we call the smart card license.
Yeah.
It comes with features that it has the contactless chip embedded in it. Okay. That affords us the opportunity to store electronic data on the card. That affords us opportunity to do electronic verification when it comes to driver checks and then verification of information. And even when it comes to rendering service, where we have to verify information before we render the service, it affords us the opportunity to do real-time verification and then real-time search for information before the services are.
To what extent is this really necessary?
To the extent that what we have currently, the technology is outdated now.
Okay.
Faking is very, very, very possible now. Right. And we need to move to the next stage and ensure that the information we collect as the information for people who have been licensed is credible and that we ensure that people who have actually satisfied our requirement for testing, for licensing, are actually the people we are keeping on our database.
There were a few issues with this particular policy when you started to roll it out. How have you dealt with those issues? For which reason you feel that the DVLA is ready to roll this out now?
They were actually not. They were actually
because it was part
issues.
Of you're calling it not serious issues.
It's where preparation stage we had some issue between ourselves and then the ministry, which we had to sort out.
Right.
And that has been resolved. And
okay, how was it resolved? How has it been resolved?
I mean, that's our mother ministry.
Okay, so what did you finally agree on?
So we already at the time had the license, how we wanted to look like already agreed on. We already had agreed on a date for it to roll out, but the ministry did not support that date because they thought that we could have done certain things before, like doing more public education, making sure that we clear the backlog of licenses that were in place, that were there before we rolled out the new one.
Yeah.
And all those issues, we've taken steps to ensure that all the concerns raised by the ministry have been addressed.
Okay, so at the moment, as we speak, you would convince yourself by saying that you've done enough public education and that you have cleared all the backlogs. People don't have their licenses with you.
People do have their licenses with us. What we've done now is that because we are printing current licenses with a third party, we have given all outstanding data to the third party for print to be done. And we are working to ensure that the licenses are printed before the 7th when the new one is rolled out. And we've also put in place some measures that will ensure that those who do not get DS before the 7th will still address their issue. Okay,
so this is 7th November.
Yeah.
7th November, okay. So I, for example, applied for a renewal of my license. So I've been given whatever it is, this document, yes, and they've asked me to come in November. What am I going to get? Am I going to get a new one?
All right, so you were captured on the existing system.
Yes.
So you get a...
No, not... Okay, yes, so yes. They will take a picture of you. So that means that they are rolling you into a new...
No.
The new system?
You were captured on the existing system we are using to print the existing cards.
Yes.
So you'll be given the old card. You'll not be given the new card.
Okay.
Yeah, but what the advantage is this. If you opt, after you receive your card, to migrate to the new system, we will not prevent you from doing that.
Okay.
But we also give you the liberty to hold that license till it is 6 years when you decide to come, or when it is due for replacement, then we'll roll you.
Then you go and you replace.
Yeah.
So is it the same system you go through when you're going to replace it?
No, the replacement has verification stage where your data is verified. We will make sure that you are in our database. Then your details will be captured into the system, and then license will be printed for you.
That's for the new system.
That is for the new system and for the
replacement. And if you have if you have the old one and you want to change it, it's not expired, and you want to change it.
So if you want to change it and it's not expired, all we'll do is that we'll verify it again, because we are using the new one also to clean our data. And then once we are satisfied that that license is in our database, you'll be given the opportunity to...
How much does it cost?
That
was one of the issues that came up earlier.
Okay, so the new license has 2 stages. Now, if you apply to obtain a license for the first time, you would have applied for a learner license, which is not affected by this, because we are not issuing you the card at that stage.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying now does not relate to the learner license.
Okay.
I'm talking about where you've satisfied all this required and you've been captured and given a temporary license. If you go through that stage, you'll be in the new system, you'll be paying 257 cedis.
257 cedis.
Yes.
And this is for the learners?
No. Oh. The learner doesn't come in here because
it doesn't pay. You don't pay anything for the learners?
The learner you do pay, but you are not paying for... At this stage, we are talking about someone who is going to be issued the card, the license card itself. Learner, we are not issuing card, so that rate doesn't affect you.
Okay, so you pay something at the learners, but it's not really a part of the new system. So you pay 257, and then that's it?
In the new regime.
And that's it?
That's it.
I see. And if you are renewing, like you want to exchange the old one for the new one, how much?
So if you are renewing, you will be paying 155 cedis.
157.
155.
155.
Yeah.
Where did I get 7 from? 155. I see. And then if you want to change, it's expired and you want to change, does it automatically mean that since you're already in the system, you just go onto the new system? I mean, for those who come after 7th November.
So if you come after 7th November and your license is expired, what we'll do is this. For every change we do, you do the verification first. Once you have verified, your biodata will be captured into the new system.
Okay.
Yeah, so once you are done with the bio capture, a temporary license will be issued. And then within 2 to 4 weeks, your license will be delivered.
Okay. My final question will be the safety of the data that you're collecting from us. You've mentioned that it's going to be printed by a third party.
No.
Okay, maybe I didn't get that correct. If it's not going to be printed by a third party, then it's the DVLA, so it is government. What's the extent of security we have about the data that we're giving to you?
All right, so we are aware that we have the responsibility to store the data and also protect the data we collect. So there are systems put in place, even from the system, the platform we are using to capture the data. There are levels of security provided on that platform. The way we transfer the data, there are levels of security provided.
Can you tell us a bit about the security?
Now, so I will just generally say.
Yes, so we've actually run out of time, but we can do something with it.
We have levels of firewalls provided at even our data center. Okay. That will protect the data that is given. And even the card itself that is given to you has some security features on that card. So you will be protected. Now, if we put your information in the contactless SIM chip, for instance, you are not able to access that chip unless we do the assessment of the chip and we will assess the information. So you have the chip you are carrying with your information, but it is not exposed to any third party.
But the third party is you now. You, the DVLA.
Of course, we are working with
and that's on the basis that we can trust you completely. Exactly. So we can trust you.
You've trusted us all this years.
Not really. We've been obliged.
No, I don't think so.
We've been obliged to give you our information and to work with you, sir. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we run out of time. But if you are looking to get a new one, we're told that the new one that's going to come after 7th of November, 257 cities. And if you're already in the system, that's 155 cities. I'm sure subsequently there'll be a lot more money. But I haven't seen any of your adverts on my channel for me to say that you've done public education. You know, we should give you an invoice now, and we signed a deal.
Fifi has given us something.
Oh, yeah, don't say that. Okay, well, we're yet to see a bit more of that, but hopefully this education has gone down well. I've been speaking to Kafui Semevo. Kafui Semevo is the Deputy Director of the Driver Training, Testing and Licensing at the DVLA. Now, the Energy Commission has warned that uncertified electricians who undertake industrial and domestic wiring will be arrested and prosecuted. Offenders will be liable to a fine of 250 penalty units or 3,000 Ghana cedis. The authorities explain the measure is to ensure qualified professionals provide such services as part of measures to prevent fire outbreaks. Here is Public Affairs Manager at Energy Commission, Victor Owusu.
The Ghana Electrical Wiring Regulations 2011, Legislative Instrument 2008, were passed in 2012 by Parliament. It prescribes only certified electrical wiring professionals are legally entitled to undertake indoor electrical wiring projects. Here is Public Affairs Manager at Energy Commission, Victor Owusu.
We are entering into the full implementation stage of the law. Full implementation. We are going to go into full implementation. Full implementation means what? Full implementation means that from now onwards, no electrician who is not certified by the Energy Commission can undertake electrical wiring in this country. So that is the reason why we have brought you here this morning, so that you members of the press will assist us to carry out this message to the general public, that henceforth, if you put up your building, if you are doing any kind of wiring, your container, your kiosk, any facility, shopping mall, filling station, whatever that requires electrical wiring, it can only be done by somebody who is certified by the Energy Commission.
Meanwhile, the commission is ready to run safety assessment tests on old buildings and other facilities against fire.
We don't want these outbreaks to be happening. We want it to become a thing of the past. And as far as fire outbreaks attributable to electrical wiring, faulty electrical wiring, or inferior electrical cables and accessories, we want it to become a thing of the past. We would, as a matter of fact, immediately after this press briefing, do an inspection of these KMA premises to see whether they are sitting on a time bomb or not. And if we find out any defects, we actually call on the Assembly to take steps to remedy them.
Nana Sensu Mensah reporting for JoyNews.